December 12, 1940. Wehrmacht High Command Headquarters, Zossen, Germany. Colonel Walter Warlimont, Deputy Chief of Operations, presented the latest intelligence assessment of American industrial capacity to the assembled German General Staff. The report, based on extensive intelligence gathering, dismissed American production potential with methodical precision. American factories were designed for consumer goods, American workers lacked military production experience, and America's contingency plans to employ women in war production revealed fundamental workforce weakness. German military intelligence had compiled detailed reports showing American military production at minimal levels, approximately 300 aircraft monthly, fewer than 20 tanks, virtually no military vehicles. The United States Army ranked 17th globally in size, trailing Romania. These facts shaped German strategic planning as they prepared for prolonged conflict. What German military planners failed to comprehend was that 4,500 miles away, an industrial revolution was beginning that would bury the Wehrmacht under an avalanche of steel and aluminum. The American women they dismissed as irrelevant would soon produce more military equipment monthly than Germany managed quarterly. The consumer goods factories they scorned would orchestrate history's greatest industrial mobilization. Within 24 months, German intelligence officers would watch American production figures with growing alarm as outputs defied every projection. The transformation of American industry, particularly the mobilization of millions of American women, would prove more devastating to Nazi Germany than any battlefield defeat. German military planning in 1940 rested on comprehensive intelligence about American capabilities. Wehrmacht analysts possessed accurate data. American aircraft production averaged 300 units monthly, tank production remained experimental, military vehicle production was negligible. The U.S. Army numbered 269,000 soldiers, poorly equipped by European standards. These assessments were factually correct in 1940. German strategic planning documents, preserved in the Bundesarchiv Militärarchiv, reveal systematic analysis of American industrial potential. Wehrmacht economists calculated that converting American consumer production to military output would require 3 to 5 years based on German experience. They noted American factories operated single 8-hour shifts, workers demanded weekends off, and labor unions restricted productivity changes. American contingency plans included recruiting women for factory work, interpreted as desperation rather than strength. The German General Staff's assessment reflected European experience where industrial conversion had required years of preparation. German rearmament, beginning secretly in 1933, took 6 years to achieve significant military production. France's attempted industrial mobilization in 1939 to 1940 had failed catastrophically. British production, despite 18 months of war, remained limited. These precedents shaped German assumptions about American capabilities. But German analysts measured American potential through European limitations. They couldn't conceptualize an industrial system that could train millions of workers in weeks, build factories from empty fields in months, or motivate workers through patriotic volunteerism. Most critically, they couldn't imagine that American women without industrial experience would master precision manufacturing faster than trained German workers. May 1940 transformed American industrial planning. As France collapsed and Britain stood alone, American industrial leaders began preparing for war. President Roosevelt's call for 50,000 aircraft annually triggered revolutionary changes in American manufacturing. William Knudsen, president of General Motors, accepted appointment as director of the Office of Production Management. His first actions revolutionized American industrial culture. Competitors including Ford, Chrysler, Packard, and Studebaker agreed to share trade secrets, production methods, and specialized tools. In Germany, where industrial giants jealously guarded advantages, such cooperation was inconceivable. The automotive industry's conversion planning began 18 months before Pearl Harbor. Detroit executives made decisions in June 1940 that would transform warfare. They standardized parts across companies, shared specialized equipment, and cross-trained workers. Henry Ford, initially reluctant to produce aircraft engines, reversed his position, declaring his company would learn what it didn't know. Simultaneously, a social revolution was beginning across America. Women began enrolling in welding courses, blueprint reading classes, and precision measurement training entirely on their own initiative. By September 1940, thousands were preparing for industrial work without government programs or recruitment campaigns. Training schools reported unprecedented female enrollment. The Bullard Havens Technical School in Connecticut, which had never admitted women, suddenly faced hundreds of applications. Similar patterns emerged nationwide as women anticipated workforce needs before formal recognition. December 7, 1941 transformed American society overnight. The Japanese attack unleashed industrial mobilization exceeding every projection. Within 48 hours, employment offices nationwide were overwhelmed with volunteers, predominantly women. The Boeing plant in Seattle exemplifies the transformation's speed. On December 6, 1941, Boeing employed approximately 8,000 workers, mostly men. By January 1, 1942, employment had doubled, with women comprising most new hires. By June 1943, Boeing would employ 45,000 workers, with women performing most assembly operations. German intelligence, monitoring American mobilization through neutral sources, initially dismissed reported production targets. The US announced plans for 60,000 aircraft in 1942, 125,000 in 1943. German analysts, whose nation produced 12,000 aircraft annually, declared these figures propaganda. What German analysts didn't understand was American industrial engineering's revolution. Frederick Taylor's scientific management principles, refined by Charles Sorensen at Ford, broke complex manufacturing into simple, repeatable tasks. Instead of training workers to build complete components, American factories trained them for specific operations. A woman might learn to drill 6 precise holes, install specific rivets, or attach particular cables. Working together, hundreds performing specific tasks could complete dozens of aircraft daily. By March 1942, American factories were achieving production rates that challenged German comprehension. The Willow Run plant, which hadn't existed 12 months earlier, was nearing completion on 3.5 million square feet of former farmland. Designed to employ 42,000 workers producing B-24 bombers, it would become the world's largest factory under one roof. German intelligence assessments from spring 1942 show systematic rejection of American production claims. Wehrmacht production experts calculated that producing a 4-engine bomber required 4,000 skilled man-hours minimum. American claims of eventual 63-minute production intervals were dismissed as mathematically impossible. But at Willow Run, revolutionary production methods were achieving unprecedented efficiency. The factory operated as a massive assembly line with bombers moving through 1,600 workstations. Women performed most operations: drilling, riveting, welding, electrical installation. Using pneumatic tools unavailable in German factories, they completed assemblies in minutes that required hours using traditional methods. Rose Will Monroe, working at Willow Run, became one of several women who inspired the Rosie the Riveter image. Operating pneumatic riveters, she and her teammates completed fuselage sections in 45 minutes that German workers needed 8 hours to finish. By April 1944, Willow Run was completing one B-24 every 63 minutes during peak production. The plant would ultimately produce 8,685 B-24 bombers. American women's role in war production contradicted Nazi ideology fundamentally. German doctrine declared women belonged exclusively in domestic roles. The concept of women building weapons wasn't just considered impractical, it represented racial degeneracy. Yet by mid-1942, American women were demonstrating extraordinary capabilities. At the Douglas Aircraft Plant in Long Beach, California, women comprised 40% of the workforce by 1943, achieving production efficiency that exceeded pre-war male workers through systematic training and improved methods. The Richmond shipyards in California employed 90,000 workers at peak production, with women comprising 27% of the workforce and 41% of welders. These workers produced Liberty ships in average times of 45 days, with the SS Robert E. Peary completed in 4 days, 15 hours, and 29 minutes in November 1942. German shipyards required 300 days for similar vessels. Women excelled in precision operations previously considered impossible for female workers. At the Sperry Gyroscope Company, women assembled bomb sights requiring tolerances of 10,000ths of an inch. Their steady hands and attention to detail exceeded standards achieved by experienced craftsmen. Norma Jean Dougherty, later Marilyn Monroe, worked at the Radioplane Munitions Factory from late 1944, inspecting parachutes and assembling target drones. She represented millions of women who entered factories without industrial experience, yet quickly mastered complex operations. By August 1942, American production was achieving levels that made German defeat mathematically certain. Aircraft production approached 4,000 monthly, equaling Germany's quarterly output every month. The United States produced more military trucks weekly than Germany managed monthly. The U.S. Strategic Bombing Survey documented the production disparity comprehensively. In 1942, America produced 47,836 aircraft versus Germany's 15,409. By 1944, American production reached 96,318 aircraft, while Germany managed 40,593, despite efficiency improvements. Tank production showed similar disparities. The Detroit Arsenal achieved production approaching 900 Sherman tanks monthly by December 1942. German tank production for all models averaged 500 monthly in 1942. America could replace losses faster than Germany could inflict them. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel experienced American material superiority firsthand in North Africa. His communications to Berlin throughout 1942 reported facing overwhelming material superiority. For every tank destroyed, multiple replacements appeared. American supplies seemed unlimited while German forces operated on strictly rationed resources. Boeing's B-17 Flying Fortress production exemplified American industrial might. Boeing's Seattle plant employed 45,000 workers by mid-1943, with significant female workforce participation after major recruitment drives began in June 1943. They achieved production of 16 B-17s daily. Combined production from Boeing, Douglas, and Lockheed delivered bombers faster than crews could be trained. By early 1943, American bomber formations grew larger monthly despite German interceptor successes. The Luftwaffe confronted not finite aircraft numbers but unlimited production. German fighter pilots reported the futility of their efforts. Adolf Galland, commanding German fighter forces, later acknowledged that by 1943 the air war was lost. American production had made victory impossible regardless of tactical success. Liberty ship construction demonstrated American production capability dramatically. The Maritime Commission promised to build ships faster than U-boats could sink them, a claim that seemed impossible given U-boat efficiency. Admiral Karl Dönitz's calculations showed Americans needed to build 200 ships annually to replace losses, exceeding what he considered global capacity. But American shipyards would launch 2,751 Liberty ships during the war using revolutionary methods. The Kaiser shipyards revolutionized shipbuilding through prefabrication and assembly line methods. Ships were constructed in sections, then assembled rapidly. Women welders replaced traditional riveters, reducing construction time substantially. Components were mass-produced, then assembled at unprecedented speed. By May 1943, American shipyards launched 3 Liberty ships daily, while U-boats averaged sinking one every 3 days. Admiral Dönitz withdrew submarines from the Atlantic, conceding that American production had defeated the U-boat campaign. The Douglas Aircraft Plant in Santa Monica employed 44,000 workers across 3 shifts by 1943, producing 360 C-47 transport aircraft monthly, exceeding Germany's entire transport fleet. Women performed not just assembly, but suggested workflow improvements that increased efficiency. Their contributions increased output while improving quality through systematic refinements. American aircraft production achieved mass production with precision exceeding handcrafted standards. Every component underwent rigorous testing and inspection. Rejection rates remained lower than German facilities despite vastly higher production speeds. The Lockheed plant demonstrated that advanced aircraft could be mass-produced. The P-38 Lightning, among the era's most complex fighters, was assembled primarily by recently trained women workers who built sophisticated aircraft matching German quality. The Detroit Arsenal began production in 1941 on 113 acres in Warren, Michigan. By late 1942, it approached 900 M4 Sherman tanks monthly, exceeding Germany's entire tank production. Women operated massive presses forming armor plates, precision lathes machining components, and overhead cranes moving 30-ton turrets. They mastered welding torches joining armor sections and quality control ensuring battleworthiness. German tank production faced fundamental limitations. The Tiger tank, superior individually, required extensive hand fitting. Germany produced 1,354 Tigers throughout the war. America produced 49,234 Shermans. Numerical superiority overwhelmed qualitative advantages. General Heinz Guderian noted captured American tanks' mechanical reliability and parts interchangeability. Every Sherman used interchangeable parts, while German tanks required model-specific components. American mass production created maintainable weapons systems. The Rock Island Arsenal demonstrated American production scaling. From 500 rifles monthly in 1940, production reached 5,000 M1 Garand rifles daily by 1943, with women comprising over half the workforce. Women operated multiple milling machines simultaneously, producing components with minimal rejection rates. Their precision exceeded military specifications while maintaining unprecedented production speeds. American soldiers carried semi-automatic M1 Garands, providing superior firepower. German soldiers used bolt-action Mausers essentially unchanged from World War I. The firepower disparity multiplied through entire armies. Ammunition production showed similar advantages. The Lake City ammunition plant, staffed predominantly by women, produced 60 million cartridges weekly by 1943, exceeding Germany's monthly production. Aluminum production revealed the resource gap dramatically. Germany produced 250,000 tons in 1942, straining every resource. America produced 920,000 tons with expansion capacity. Alcoa's Tennessee facilities, powered by TVA hydroelectric dams, employed women operating electric furnaces, consuming enormous power. Each furnace produced sufficient aluminum daily for multiple aircraft. German aluminum shortages forced increasing use of steel and wood in aircraft, adding weight and reducing performance. American aircraft used aluminum extensively, improving range, speed, and payload, translating directly into combat superiority. American mass production achieved quality exceeding traditional craftsmanship through statistical quality control developed by Walter Schuhart and W. Edwards Deming. Consistency impossible with individual craftsmanship became routine. At Pratt & Whitney's Connecticut plant, women inspectors maintained standards exceeding German requirements. Every component underwent multiple inspections, ensuring complete interchangeability. Packard Motor Company, building Rolls-Royce Merlin engines under license, improved British designs through production engineering. American-built engines exceeded specifications while being produced at unprecedented rates. American war production depended on transportation networks moving materials with clockwork precision. Women played crucial roles throughout, from railroad operations to logistics planning. Female railroad workers increased from 4,000 in 1940 to 104,000 by 1944. They operated switchyards, maintained tracks, and coordinated logistics, moving millions of tons monthly. The Pennsylvania Railroad alone moved more freight daily than Germany's entire network. This efficiency meant American factories never stopped for shortages. Raw materials flowed seamlessly to production facilities, while German factories frequently idled awaiting supplies despite shorter distances. American war production occurred alongside civilian prosperity, while Germany faced increasing deprivation. Americans produced consumer goods throughout the war while outproducing Germany militarily. Germany devoted 70% of production to war by 1943. American military spending never exceeded 40% while achieving superior output. The difference was productivity. American workers achieved output levels through systematic efficiency. Time-motion studies, production refinements, and worker suggestions continuously improved efficiency. Women operating automatic equipment outproduced multiple craftsmen using traditional methods. Multiplied across millions, productivity differences proved decisive. At Electric Boat Shipyard in Connecticut, women comprised 40% of submarine construction workers by 1943. They built fleet submarines in 180 days, while German U-boats required 300 days despite simpler design. Women welders worked in confined spaces, accelerating production significantly. Their ability to work in restricted areas increased construction speed substantially. American submarine production exceeded German U-boat construction by 1943. American submarines were larger, more capable, and better equipped. The vessels that devastated Japanese shipping were built by workers new to shipbuilding. Radar and electronics production showcased American manufacturing advantages. At Raytheon, women assembled complex radar units in quantities Germany couldn't approach. American radar production reached thousands monthly by 1943. Every ship, many aircraft, and numerous ground installations had radar, while German forces possessed limited sets for entire sectors. Western Electric, employing predominantly women, produced 100,000 military radios monthly by 1944. American forces enjoyed communication superiority at every level, from squad radios to strategic networks. The Holston Ordnance Works employed 40,000 workers, 70% women, producing RDX explosive. They produced more explosives in 1943 than Germany managed throughout the entire war. Safety procedures exceeded German standards despite dangerous materials. Women achieved better safety records through systematic procedures and training while handling materials. German doctrine considered too dangerous for female workers. American artillery fired unlimited barrages while German guns conserved shells. The production difference originated in plants where women produced explosives, making conservation unnecessary. Penicillin production exemplified American advantages. From enough for 100 treatments in 1942, production reached sufficient quantities for 100,000 treatments monthly by 1944. German soldiers died from infections. American medics cured routinely. Surgical instrument production increased dramatically between 1941 and 1944. Women at Becton Dickinson and similar facilities produced medical supplies in quantities ensuring American wounded received treatment exceeding German field hospitals. Blood plasma production, organized through the Red Cross with predominantly female workers, saved countless lives. American wounded survived at unprecedented rates while German casualties faced medical supply shortages. When Japan captured Southeast Asian rubber, America created synthetic rubber production from nothing. By 1944, facilities operated primarily by women produced 737,000 tons annually, versus Germany's 110,000 to 120,000 tons peak. Chemical engineers developed processes improving synthetic rubber beyond natural rubber for specific applications. Innovations were shared industry-wide, multiplying advantages. German vehicles failed for inadequate tyres, while American vehicles operated continuously. The production difference meant spare tyres by millions versus German tyre rationing. The Quartermaster Corps documented American forces as history's best-equipped military. Women in textile mills produced 100 million uniforms, 500 million pairs of socks, 60 million boots. At parachute facilities, women sewed with precision where accuracy meant survival. Each parachute required thousands of precise stitches, achieved with minimal rejection rates. German soldiers faced Russian winters in summer uniforms, while Americans received specialized clothing for every climate. The difference originated in textile mills, where women produced proper equipment universally. Radio production demonstrated mass production mastery. Motorola's 14,000 workers, predominantly women, produced the SCR-300, the first FM portable military radio, at 50,000 units monthly by 1944. Every American squad had radios, while German companies shared single sets. Communication superiority built by women provided tactical advantages compensating for experience differences. Bausch & Lomb's 9,000 workers, mostly women, outproduced Germany's entire optical industry, including Zeiss and Leica combined. They produced binoculars, rangefinders, and bomb sights in unprecedented quantities. American forces had unlimited optical equipment, while German forces treasured individual pieces. Material superiority at every level originated where women exceeded traditional craftsmanship through systematic methods. American vehicle reliability resulted from spare parts availability. Women at Delco Remy and similar facilities produced components in millions, spark plugs, batteries, generators, ensuring continuous operation. Every American vehicle carried spares German vehicles lacked. Preventive maintenance became routine, while Germans cannibalized vehicles for parts. The difference multiplied operational readiness dramatically. American fuel production dwarfed German synthetic efforts. Women at Texas refineries produced 100-octane aviation fuel, providing performance advantages. German pilots operated with inferior fuel when available. American pilots trained without fuel constraints, while German training was severely limited. Experience differences originated in refineries where women produced unlimited high-quality fuel. Captured German documents reveal the psychological impact of facing American material superiority. Soldiers' letters described overwhelming abundance that broke morale before battles began. German propaganda couldn't explain production reality to troops experiencing it firsthand. Every captured position revealed abundance contradicting ideology. Soldiers stopped believing propaganda after encountering American material superiority. Operation Overlord demonstrated production supremacy definitively. The invasion fleet's 5,000 ships and 11,000 aircraft were mostly produced in the previous 18 months by workers, predominantly women. German defenders faced material superiority, making resistance mathematically futile. 20 American shells for every German shell, 50 aircraft for every German plane. Courage became irrelevant against overwhelming firepower. American divisions consumed 1,000 tons of supplies daily, versus German allocations of 30 tons. The difference originated where women produced abundance, making sustained operations possible. While supplying Europe, America simultaneously fought across the Pacific with equal material superiority. Admiral Yamamoto had predicted 6 months before American strength prevailed. He underestimated significantly. Essex-class carrier production exemplified capacity. These 27,000-ton vessels were built in 20 months versus Japan's 4 years. America built 24. Japan managed 6 throughout the war. Women at Newport News built carriers using assembly methods. Ships requiring individual craftsmanship elsewhere were mass-produced systematically. By 1944, American bomber production enabled 1,000-plane raids. The 8th Air Force alone operated more four-engine bombers than Germany's total wartime production. Women at Boeing, Consolidated, Douglas, and North American produced 96,318 aircraft in 1944. Germany managed 40,593 despite improvements. Air superiority's arithmetic was manufactured by American women. German intelligence consistently underestimated American production because their framework couldn't conceptualize women as skilled workers. Social assumptions prevented understanding reality. Post-war analysis reveals systematic rejection of accurate reports. Analysts typically reduced figures substantially, believing actual production impossible with female workers. Field commanders knew better from experience. By late 1944, fuel shortages immobilized German forces while Americans consumed fuel abundantly. German tanks sat idle. American tanks operated continuously. Aircraft availability determined operational possibilities. American logistics delivered materials efficiently from factories to front lines. Women managed supply chains, moving millions of tons monthly to precise destinations globally. Supply differences were stark. American soldiers consumed 67 pounds of supplies daily versus German allocations of 4 pounds. Systematic production and distribution ensured nothing stopped for shortages. American replacement systems maintained unit strength continuously. Equipment losses were replaced immediately. Personnel losses filled rapidly. German units degraded progressively while American units strengthened. The training pipeline delivered soldiers continuously. Units rebuilt immediately after combat, while German formations never recovered strength once depleted. The Battle of the Bulge revealed supply superiority starkly. Despite surprise, Americans were better equipped than German attackers who had months to prepare. American soldiers had complete winter equipment, while Germans improvised desperately. Production planning anticipated needs systematically. American artillery fired concentrated barrages, while German artillery conserved desperately. At ammunition plants staffed predominantly by women, America produced shells in millions, while Germany managed thousands. Communication equipment abundance enabled coordination impossible for Germans. Women produced military radios ensuring every unit had multiple sets, while Germans shared individual radios. American wounded survived at extraordinary rates through medical supplies produced abundantly. Plasma, drugs, and surgical supplies were universally available, while German medical services faced constant shortages. The motorization difference transformed warfare. America's 2.5-ton trucks, produced at 800,000 units, provided mobility while German forces relied on deteriorating horse transport. Transport aircraft enabled sustained operations anywhere. Women at Douglas built 10,000 C-47s, transforming military logistics. Surrounded forces received supplies indefinitely, while German encirclements meant surrender. Combat engineers had equipment providing enormous advantages. Bulldozers and excavators, produced by women, enabled rapid construction while Germans used hand tools. Signals intelligence succeeded through machines mass-produced by women at NCR and IBM. Thousands of analytical machines multiplied human capability exponentially. Radar coverage was universal through mass production at Raytheon and Western Electric. Detection advantages negated tactical surprise systematically. American soldiers received comfort items regularly, cigarettes, candy, magazines, maintaining morale. German soldiers received nothing for months. Production supplied warriors and civilians simultaneously. Soviet and British officials acknowledged American production's crucial role. Stalin toasted American production at Tehran. Churchill understood from the beginning that American industry would prove decisive. The Studebaker trucks mobilizing Soviet forces, the Liberty ships sustaining Britain, the aircraft equipping Allied air forces, all produced predominantly by American women whose contribution proved absolutely decisive. American war production statistics remain staggering: 296,000 aircraft, 193,000 artillery pieces, 86,000 tanks, 2.6 million machine guns, 6 million tons of aircraft bombs, 434 million tons of steel, 2.6 million military trucks, 50 million tons of ammunition. Women comprised up to 65% of aircraft plant workforces, 40% in certain shipyards, 55% in ammunition plants. Their productivity exceeded every projection. United States Strategic Bombing Survey interviews revealed unanimous German acknowledgement that American production, particularly by women workers, made victory impossible from 1943 onward. Field Marshal Kesselring stated, "American material superiority made tactics irrelevant." Colonel General Jodl testified Germany lost to industrial capacity, not military defeat. The underestimation of American production capacity, especially women's capabilities, proved the fatal miscalculation. The women who built victory transformed society permanently. Having proven equal capabilities, they refused returning to pre-war limitations. Productivity methods they developed became foundations for post-war prosperity. Their individual contributions, Rose Will Monroe at Willow Run, thousands at Douglas and Boeing, welders at Richmond shipyards, combined to create the arsenal of democracy. Each represented millions whose work proved decisive. American motivation and methods achieved what German coercion couldn't. Women worked for victory, wages, and pride, achieving productivity through systematic training and continuous improvement that forced labor never approached. Production methods developed by women revolutionized global industry. Breaking complex tasks into masterable steps originated where women proved traditional expertise unnecessary for quality. American women's wartime role revolutionized society beyond any legislation. Their contrast with marginalized German women demonstrated how pragmatism, utilizing all talent, defeated ideology restricting populations. Mass production achieved quality exceeding craftsmanship through systematic methods. Women produced precision that multiplied combat effectiveness through equipment reliability. The story demonstrates timeless lessons about human potential. German military planners couldn't conceive that democracy would outproduce dictatorship, that women equaled men industrially, that freedom motivated better than coercion. Their blindness to women's capabilities was symptomatic of ideological failures ensuring defeat. They measured American potential by German limitations, dismissing as impossible what became routine. American women proved victory belongs to those utilizing all talents regardless of gender. When German generals dismissed American women workers in 1940, they sealed their defeat. When those women produced more than the entire Axis, ideology confronted devastating reality. The final verdict was delivered by millions of American women who proved freedom mobilized, produces power tyranny cannot match. They built victory one component at a time, establishing foundations for the post-war world. Their legacy extends beyond military victory to demonstrating what becomes possible when necessity breaks artificial barriers.